where were we? Right, we've got the rudiments of a box put together there now. Taking shape, got the back on, top's fixed to the sides. I'll give you the dimensions. It's 13" across the front, and depth of it is 16 3/4 or 425 mm. Height at the back 160 mm, 6 1/4. Yeah. So what I propose to do now is install the electrics. Now before I start doing this, I just want to make people aware that if you're not confident with doing electrics, if you've got no experience with electrics, then you best get a qualified electrician to do it for you. I've done a few of these now, so I know roughly what I'm doing. What I propose doing is the main power lead will go in the back there with a cable gland, and then on this side I'm going to put a toggle switch there, an illuminated switch. It could be live at the wall but off on the shop maker. I can switch it on and off with that switch there. I did think about putting it on the top there, but it's a plastic toggle switch. I'll just grab it. It's one of them, plastic toggle switch. It's got an LED in there, and I'm expecting this to get warm. They normally do get warm. I mean, you can put your ingots on there to sort of pre-warm before you put them in the ladle. So I'm going to keep anything where there's any heat, I'll keep things like that away, and I'll have it in the side there to go in the side like that. It'll be illuminated, so I can control it on that side on and off, separate from the wall. So yeah, that's basically it. Now ready for the wiring. Tricky bit's done really, making the box. It's all riveted. There's nothing flammable in there. It's all steel. That's the inside. Ready for wiring up. So we're getting there, but I'll sort out some wires, plenty of scrap wires, and then we'll get on with cutting the holes for the switches and the cable gland and see how we go on. Right, now we've reached the fun part. Wiring up. Right, I've cut my holes for the switch. Switch will go in there, like so. I used a Dremel to cut that out carefully, so it just clicks in nice. At the back here, we've got a cable gland, which is one of those. I think it's 20 millimeters. I drilled the hole for that using a step drill through that. This screw and nut there will be where the earth or the ground will go from the mains and the actual box itself, so the whole lot will be grounded and earthed. And there we've got a little junction box, once again, knowing me, salvaged again out of the cooker that this come out of. Before I start, I just want to talk a little bit about ratings of electric connections, terminals, whatever. The switch, what I'm using, I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if it'll focus in on that or not. Where are we? Which way round is it? Don't know if you can see that or not. It's going to focus. No, you perhaps can't see it. That switch, that's rated for 16 amps at 250 volts. So that's more than enough what we want for this. If you want to calculate what wattage something will power, you times the amps by the volts. So if that was 10 amps, 10 times 250, it would be 2,500 watts, 2.5 kilowatts. It's 16 times, so you'll have to do the maths on that. It's rated well over 3 kilowatts, that is, anyway. The junction box I've got that salvaged out of the cooker, that's 32 amps times 240 volts, so that's more than enough. And the cable what you use, make sure that's rated high enough as well. Like we said in the beginning, the element's a 2 kilowatt element. So that pulls at 240 volts, that pulls 9 amps, I think. This cable's rated, it's 1.5 millimeter 3-ply cable. We've got the neutral, which is the blue, live, brown, and earth, which is the green and yellow. I'm sure if you're attempting this, you'll know what they are. If you don't know what they are, don't attempt the job. And they're 1.5 millimeters. It's rated to 300/500 volts. So, like I said before, that's got a 13 amp fuse. Our plugs have a 13 amp fuse here in the UK, and that'll do 3.12 kilowatts. 3.12 kilowatts, I think, 3,120 watts. Well, we're only pulling 2,000 watts, so that lead shouldn't get overheated or anything like that. What you've got to bear in mind is that element is going to open up to its full 2 kilowatts initially to melt the lead. Once we know what the temperature of the lead is, either using a thermometer, or in my case I'll use my PID, the machine will automatically regulate itself. But that's one of the reasons for switches. If you haven't got a PID, you can use the switch, what we're going to put in there, use the switch to turn the power on and off to keep your lead from overheating. So we've got some wires, we've got the connections in place. Now it's just a simple matter of wiring it all up. Right, we've got connection on the underside of the element now. Like I said before, terminals 1, 2, 3, 4. 1's a live, 2's a neutral, 4's a neutral, and 3 is the live. I know it's confusing, but they normally read 1, 2, 4, 3. So they're connected, good solid connections there. Make sure they're nice and tight. They're all pretty tight now. They're feeding the elements that go in the coil in there. This is the salvage wire, what to salvage out the cooker, which is it's a fiberglass sheathed heat resistant wire. So this is the area that's going to get warm, so there's nothing there that's going to melt or catch fire. Right, these have got to come across now to my little junction box, and what I'll do, I think I'll screw that off and then we can have a better look at the connection. If ever you take anything apart, like an old cooker or any appliance, save the little screws, nuts and screws. I mean, they're perfect, these little things. I always save stuff like this. I'm terrible for it. I take after my dad. But save all your little nuts and screws, nuts and bolts. Right, so this is the little junction box, what I told you about. You can see what it's rated to on the back there. It's 32 amps, 380 volts. So that'll kill it. That'll be more than enough for what we want. And also, if you can see on the back, my two lives and my two neutrals will go in there, and these have got nice little solid brass jumpers, so I can just come off with one live and one neutral. Basically, it's acting to bring the four wires together there. So we've got the ends there, so I'll connect them up. Right, we've connected the wires from the element into the junction box now, as you can see. Got my two lives there, my two neutrals there, and you can see the good solid brass jumpers. So basically there'll be one live wire going to the two lives and one neutral going to the two neutrals. So we'll put that to the side of the box now and then carry on with the wiring. Right, we've got a little junction box in place now. Now we've got the mains cable, that'll be the mains. I'll send it through the cable gland. I've stripped the outer cable off for now. That should be more than enough wire poking through. Just give it a bit more. So the idea of using a cable gland is that it's going to restrain the cable. If you have an accident or if you manage to get your legs tangled up in the cable when the machine's operating, you're not going to pull it out. That's solid, it won't pull out. They're brilliant little cable glands. Right, so we've got the power coming in from the outside. First thing I'm going to do is connect the earth or the ground to the ground position, what I've got in place there. These are good selection of terminals. You can get them from Amazon or anywhere really. And a cable stripper makes the job a lot quicker. So that's stripped. When you do wiring internals like this, make sure all your wires are together and you've got no little frayed bits knocking about. So obviously that's too long, if you can see. Just focusing on that. So I want about 3mm cutting off that. You don't really want any wires protruding. So we'll nip them off. That's that. You get the idea. Ring on there. Not the best crimpers in the world, but they do the job. Give that a good solid, good squeeze on there. Always give your terminals a good tug, a good test to make sure they're solid. That'll go now onto the earth position there. Right, we've got that in its earth or ground position there. We've got the fiberglass coated earth wire. That'll go go in that position there. That's on there. And then he'll be married to the ground on there. So as soon as the power comes in into the unit, it's grounded or earthed, and that way all the whole metal box will be earthed or grounded, so there'll be no danger of getting any electric shocks. So that can be tightened up now. Right, we can wire the toggle switch up next. That's the toggle switch. That's the right way around looking at it on an appliance. Off's at the top, on's at the bottom. Turning it round as you're looking at it on the right hand side. Top right hand side is where the mains power comes into the device. Top left hand side is where the neutral from the mains is connected. Bottom right is the live to the element, or your load, whatever you're powering, and your bottom left is the neutral to your appliance. So what we need to do now is strip these wires back, get some spade terminals out of my kit and connect them onto there. Right, I think that's it, lads. I've made all the connections. We've got, just run through it all with you again. Take the camera off here so you can see. Power comes in from the wall through the cable gland. Then you've got the earth, goes to the earth position, and that earth position is connected to the underside of the element. So all the box is earthed. We've got the mains coming in from the wall. The live goes to the top right of the toggle switch. The neutral coming in from the wall goes to the top left on the toggle switch. And then we've got two wires that go to the connection box, if you remember. We've got the two jumpers there. So that's doing both the lives, and that one's doing both the neutrals. They come into the bottom of the switch, live on the right, neutral on the left. So in theory now, if that's plugged in, we should have power to the element, and we should light up the toggle switch, hopefully. I'll just plug that in. Right, nothing's gone bang yet. So there's power to the box now. Power to the box, but nothing going to the element. So I should be able to, there we go. Lights on. So I can reach round. Yeah, element's heating up. So that's it. All I need to do now is put the switch in its hole there, and then I can close the box up. Right, in the next video I'll be fixing my ladle to it, to the element, and I'll probably give it a paint job, to be honest. I don't know. Might get some heat-proof paint for it, some stove paint, give it a nice coat of black paint. I'll just put the switch in place and we'll have a look at it again.